Many of us relish a good scare here and there, and some people love to test themselves even further. Horror games have been providing chills for a long time, and indies are at the forefront of the new kinds of fear they create. What makes this genre unique is the way it replaces the feeling of joy with stress and fright. But at the same time, we find ourselves thrilled to keep going and discover more, because our brains are programmed to enjoy mysteries and things that logic can't explain. In the last few videos, I wanted to showcase some of the creepiest, less-known indie horror games that are buried under the shadows of the big popular ones. But the people in the comments keep asking me to talk about certain hardcore horror games, even though many of them were already mentioned in one of my previous videos, and I don't like to repeat myself, but obviously they didn't watch it. Anyway, in this video, I decided to list the 7 scariest indie horror games ever created in my point of view, and the ranking will be based on my own experience and opinion. So it's possible that some of you might disagree with the order, but I'm pretty sure you will agree that these 7 titles are insanely frightening, and they definitely stand out from the rest. Alex Morton, a paranormal investigator and vlogger, is the protagonist in the jump-scare horror-fest investigation game known as Summer of '58. Responding to the requests of his followers, he travels to the Russian countryside to explore the vacant Yunost camp. Local rumors claim the area is home to tormented spirits, but it turns out that things are way worse than that. For many years, the pioneer camp Yunost was a place where parents could send their children during the summer. However, this all changed in 1958 when a terrible incident occurred at the camp. Numerous counselors and residents were slain in a vicious manner, with one of the children being suspected of the crime, although the kid was never found. This tragic event resulted in the camp being closed indefinitely. Your mission is to investigate the place and try to find any clues that can help solve the mystery, but it's easier said than done. Aside from the eerie atmosphere that gets even creepier with the night vision, the game will also give you some of the most intense jump scares that can remove your soul from your body. The visuals are really eye-catching. The ghosts are even more attractive, in a frightening way of course, and they look nothing like the awful horror-style indie game you typically come across. There is a certain amount of revisiting in this game, but each time you backtrack, you will find something different. Occasionally, the game likes to deceive you or simply send chills down your spine. Frights can emerge unexpectedly and are usually when you least anticipate it, so condition yourself appropriately. Concerning sound, Summer of '58 is a game that centers around the psychological side, which means that sounds are very essential in the experience, if not the most important element overall. You have to listen attentively to the sounds, as they can help you presage what might occur, as well as help you go in the right direction. The narrative of the game is extremely fascinating. Every time you discover a clue, it makes you more curious to investigate and comprehend the story that resulted the slaughter. The only genuine downside I can find in this game is that there were a few too many jump scares, from my point of view. Too much of something beneficial is not always desirable, so to speak. So if you have heart problems, I really advise you to stay away from it, because it will surely make things worse for you. But that definitely won't change the fact that the experience overall is worth it, but only if you are a true horror fan.
How about that smile? All right. The undercoat should be dry by now. It's time to get to work. Hello? Yes, speaking. Ugly? Ugly? You ordered a true portrait, so that's what I painted. The clock struck 1. Horror ran down.
To make a good horror story, it needs a novel approach, and Layers of Fear offers that through artwork. You take on the role of an artist who has come back to their home to create their magnum opus. The only advice at the beginning is simply to finish it. You must explore the substantial corridors in first-person perspective and work out for yourself where to go and what to do. The time period appears to be the mid-20th century. However, the exact time is intentionally left vague. Paint is splashed all over the environment, with bright colors smudged all over the furniture and floors. The walls display altered versions of classic paintings. The aesthetic style is visually beautiful, but it also creates a unique and unsettling atmosphere to explore. Jump scares can be found in the game, but the true innovation is how it tests your senses. What you saw before may not be there when you turn around, or the environment may have shifted when you shift your gaze. As you focus on something else, grotesque pictures may appear in your peripheral vision as nightmarish images appear over the more realistic scenes. This can make it hard to believe in the world around you.
This solves nothing. It never has. It never will.
The experience is skillfully crafted. Changes occur without you realizing it until it's too late. This game has an effect of playing with you. I have never had such a feeling of apprehension from a horror game before as I was so involved in it. You are not just watching ominous events, but those few moments of uncertainty when you notice the changes make you feel off kilter, allowing the horror to pass your usual safeguards almost imperceptibly. This horror game is one of the most remarkable ones I have ever experienced, and it introduces a fresh collection of interactive frights. Never before has a game so skillfully depicted a plunge into insanity, by blurring the divisions between fiction and reality, in a manner that extends beyond the game itself and into the player's own life. It is one thing to observe a character's mental breakdown, but it is a completely unique experience to be concerned about your own. This title is a first-person horror game in which the main objective is to get away from a haunted mansion, without being detected by the terrifying being known as the Ayuwoki. Stealth mode will be essential for success, and tables will be your only ally, because you need to hide under them all the time. In the game, the protagonist has been kidnapped and ensconced in a spooky old abode. The goal is to identify a key concealed somewhere in the domicile, and use it to unlock the exit door and flee. But it's not as easy as you think. In fact, it will be one of the most stressful experiences ever. I will not believe anyone in the comments who tells me that this game is easy or that they finished it without being caught, because that's a straight lie. This game is literally a simulator of a heart attack. The sound of him coming makes you terrified, as if you're the one inside the mansion and not playing at your home. He's probably the fastest creature I ever faced in a horror game. He even makes games like Granny look like a walk in the park. And his face on the screen when he catches you will probably ruin your dreams for a couple of nights. This game is not about horror or fear. It simply replaces that with stress and pressure because you don't know where he is, or from where he's coming, and you don't even know where you should search or where to hide. In other words, play this game if you want to lose it. Infliction is a psychological horror that centers around the protagonist Gary Pout. He is a typical family man who has come back to his home in order to get his wife's plane ticket. When he goes inside the house, he finds himself trapped in a never-ending mental horror, with a resentful ghost chasing him from one room to the next while he attempts to make sense of what occurred in his residence. The level design and atmosphere of Infliction are its most impressive elements. Exploring the Pout family home is thoroughly engaging and is adequately frightening in the appropriate moments. The suspense is palpable as you carefully navigate the dark home in an effort to evade the instant death grab of the pursuing spirit. You can take refuge from the ghost, and you can shock her with a camera. At a certain point, you can even flick a switch and electrocute her. But she won't stay away for long. She will keep coming and annihilating you over and over. Escape is not a possibility. You must avoid her until you find a better solution.
I don't know what culture this is. This is a place for reflection. The fabric between this place and the beautiful darkness is breaking down.
As you progress in the game, the story subtly changes some of your initial ideas. You come to understand that every family member has their own concealed issues that contrast with the others. Everyone has deep-rooted problems and traumas that have never been resolved, which generates the struggles that you discover through your playthrough. I don't want to spoil any more of the game, but overall, it's one of the most interesting indie horror experiences that you can ever find out there. During the 1980s, a team of medical professionals from a psychiatric center in Turin alerted the police about one of their colleagues who had gone missing. As the detective assigned to the case, you launch a personal search for hints at the doctor's residence and encounter a number of peculiar occurrences, and a sense of a mysterious presence following you wherever you go. You must stay vigilant and do not panic, as someone may attempt to apprehend you and take you to a location that's similar to hell. The S2 Engine HD is the source of the photorealistic environment, which will make you feel like you are living in the shoes of the detective. The game is inspired by the old Italian horror movies, with lots of jump scares and Italian culture references. As the detective, you will uncover the secrets of the house and its occupants. You can also collect and inspect items and use them to resolve puzzles. At one point in the game, a dark entity will start chasing you, and you must use the environment to run away and hide. To summarize, this game simply contains everything you would expect in an immersive horror game. This game contains 2 chapters merged into one story, and it takes place in the house and then in the psychiatric hospital. Both locations will provide the most intense ambience possible, and I can assure you that you will not spend any time feeling comfortable while playing. You need to stay alerted and worried about something watching you from behind, and the sounds will contribute in keeping you stressed throughout the whole experience. You will literally find something spooky in every corner, and nothing will make sense. For me, the only reason why this game is number 3 and not first is because the other 2 games are just too good and can't lose their spots. Visage is a horror experience you don't want to miss. It's among the most intimidating games I have ever played. It cleverly creates a frightening mood, increasing uneasiness, and the perfect measure of shocks and jump scares. It's the equivalent of a haunted house from the underworld that terrifies you to the core. Despite the game's flaws in terms of its awkward inventory system and occasional technical glitches where you get stuck in a location or fall through the world, these defects cannot weaken the fact that Visage does terror perfectly. You start the game in a house with no idea of what is going on or any objectives. People wanting guidance may not be thrilled with this hands-off approach, but wandering the haunted corridors without any instruction is effective, with the suspense slowly increasing from flickering lights to strange apparitions. Visage takes you into the psychological realm as you traverse through forgotten treehouses, gloomy graveyards, mental health care centers, and even a grocery store. By this, you learn the heartbreaking and frightening stories of those who have dwelled in the cursed property. Every chapter is linked to a character and comes with its own puzzles, and they are incredibly crafted journeys crossing between the real and the surreal. Visage provides a perfect opportunity for those who like horror to enjoy themselves, drawing on different styles of dread in order to create a disconcerting atmosphere. Usually, horror titles simply resort to frequent jump scares and cheap thrills, but Visage allows the environment to sink into your psyche and have you second-guessing your choice to open a door or walk down the stairs. It will play with your mind, and that's literally the purpose of any perfect horror game. Also, many people commented in my previous videos and stated that they were not able to finish it because it was too much for them, which is something unsurprising considering the elements that I just mentioned. In normal cases, Visage should be number 1 on our list, but since today we're talking about the best titles of all time, the spot is reserved to another game that pretty much excels in everything.
What are you doing in there? Unlock the door, please. Lucy? Are you okay?
Found a new owner, which has finally found a new owner, which has finally found a new owner, which has finally found a new.
Madison is a game like no other, and it has a very palpable feeling of impending doom. It's a type of psychological horror that is designed to create a sense of terror and dread in the player even without any event taking place or a visible figure on the screen. Every factor of the game seems to indicate that the situation of the protagonist is dire, and there is little hope of a happy outcome. Conciseness and self-restraint are typically at the core of truly remarkable horror stories. It's commonplace now to say that the monster you only catch a glimpse of is more petrifying than the one that you're constantly presented with through jump scares. Gladly, Madison follows this guideline very well. You play as Luca. A devil has manipulated you into carrying out a wicked ceremony in your cursed family home. As you go along, you will find out about Madison Hale, a witch who perpetrated a set of ghastly sacrificial murders before being slain herself. While she is at the heart of your plight, the narrative also links your family's background with the devilish in manners that sometimes seem disconnected to the main story, making it mystifying how a supernatural journey to a 1950s church relates to the current events. Your camera, which has supernatural powers, is the main tool of interaction and can be used as a weapon at times. Taking pictures of specific places can break down barriers, open doors to new places, and cause other astonishing, reality-altering effects. The pictures can also be used as important hints. I find it exciting to take a picture with a Polaroid camera and then see what revelation it displays. There is no indication of when to capture a picture, so I literally prefer to take photos every time I sense a paranormal activity. The same elements that I said about Visage can pretty much be said about Madison too. Both games know how to use the psychological realm very good, so they can mess with the player's mind instead of surprising him with monsters or ghosts every 2 seconds. The game is also highly dramatic, which makes it so compelling. There is always some noise to make you anxious, and music to increase the intensity of moments. At times, those moments can be terrifying, as you wait for something to happen, but nothing does. Then there are other occasions when all sound is suddenly cut off, leaving you wondering if something is going to come out of the blue. Madison is a fear-inducing experience that is terrifying from beginning to end and takes advantage of its engaging plot. As you progress in the game, you will be exposed to numerous facets of its intricate narrative and be captivated by the spooky atmosphere as they delve deeper into the story, leading up to an unexpected ending. So, if you're a fan of horror games that are mixed with adventures along with amazing visuals, then you should definitely be interested about this. This is my ultimate list of the best indie horror games I experienced so far. And I say so far because 2023 looks like it will bring some incredible titles and the rankings might change over time. If you disagree with the list, then feel free to tell me in the comments about your collection of the scariest games you've ever played. And hopefully in the next video we will go back to discovering other amazing titles that are being ignored. Because as much as I enjoyed the ones that I mentioned today, I still feel much more joy when I discover a less-known game that turns out to be terrifying. So until the next list, stay safe and sleep well.